Hi friends, this is Prem. Today we got a visa bulletin, that is a July 2026 visa bulletin, and we have a lot of surprise on India employment based category. We would like to discuss with our attorney when the dates become available again. Say if anyone is having the pending application now, just I-485, EAD or advance parole, what will happen to them? If anyone schedule the interview, green card interview, what will happen to them? And most important question is like, is it wise to downgrade the application now because the EB3 is available? Let's go to the video and ask all the questions to our attorney, Henry. He is from Manifest Law Firm, and Manifest Law Firm is giving the free consulting. If you have any visa question or green card question, use our QR code and scan it and schedule your free appointment. Hi Henry, welcome to this video and thanks for your time. Today we are going to discuss about the very important topic about July 2026 visa bulletin. Yeah, it's a little bit shocking is there, but let's discuss what is happening. And before going to the video, வணக்கம், எப்படி இருக்கீங்க?
வணக்கம், நல்லா இருக்கீங்க.
Yeah, I'm good, Henry. Before going to the dates, they won't consider dates for filing anymore, right? Because I am seeing dates for filing are not at all moving, and they always mention the final action date for adjustment of status.
I think that's correct for the employment-based cases at least, because from the previous USCIS chart, they said only final action dates. For next month's chart, they say only final action dates. I mean, I don't know if it's a strict rule that they will not look at the dates of filing anymore for the rest of the fiscal year, but it certainly looks that way because they are reaching the numbers already. They have more than enough cases, I think, already in process or pending with USCIS, so they can use those to use out the remaining visa numbers for this year.
Exactly, because we have hardly two more visa bulletin remaining on this fiscal year, right? So we can't expect much more progress from the USCIS. It's understandable.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, and I have one more question. Like when I see the final action date for employment-based category, the rest of the world become current on EB1 and EB2. So, is it a good news for the most backlog countries like India and China?
I think so, because as we discussed previously, there was some leftover visa numbers, right, from previous year, and now that seems to be moving the visa bulletin forward for everybody. Of course, India now has retrogressed a little bit. That's just because there's so many applicants, and even though there's more numbers, India still reaches its 7% of the total very quickly. So that's unfortunate, but overall things seem to be going further much better than before. Maybe it's because of the increased visa numbers. Maybe it can also be because of the reduced approval rates, right? So a lot of cases that were filed in 2024, 2025 are now getting denied, and then the government sees, oh, we don't actually have that many cases in the pipeline that need to get the green card.
When we talk about the retrogress, EB1 got retrogressed from June 2026 visa bulletin to July 2026 visa bulletin. Is it expected?
I was expecting at least no movement. I've been saying that for months, though. So, but yeah, I wouldn't consider this a big surprise, because when they open up the dates of filing, and a lot of people start submitting adjustment of status applications, then if they all of a sudden see, whoa, we have too many cases with this priority date, and we don't have enough visas for green cards for all of them, then they have to pull back on the final action dates to adjust, basically.
61 days. That is a really a shocking thing on EB1. But the EB2 beats EB1, because in the last visa bulletin itself we have discussed, like already USCIS mentioned that there is no more visa for India, but they didn't put it India as unavailable. But now in the latest visa bulletin, they put EB2 as unavailable. So what does it mean?
All that it means is that if you have a pending adjustment of status application and you are from India and your adjustment is based on the EB2, then they cannot give you an adjustment approval this year, fiscal year. That's what it means. It doesn't mean that you cannot file an EB2 case. If you have if you have a good profile, you can always submit I-140 for EB2 NIW, or if you have a perm that gets certified from employer case, then they can file an I-140 in the EB2 category. The unavailable just means that however many visa numbers were allocated for India in the EB2 category this year, they've now issued green cards for all of those numbers and there's nothing left. It just means they cannot print another green card in the EB2 category this year.
Okay, so yeah, it clearly understandable. So there is no more I-485 on EB2 on this fiscal year, right?
Correct. If your priority date is current based on the charts, you can still file the case. But from all of the cases that are pending, they just cannot approve the case because there's no more numbers. So if an officer right now is looking at a pending 485 and they do an interview, maybe even after the interview, if they want to approve it, the process is that before they approve the case, the officer has to contact USCIS to confirm that there is a visa number, and only then will they be allowed to approve the case. And if all of the visa numbers for EB2 for India have already been allocated for different cases, the officer will be told, you cannot approve this case until October. And then they have to wait until the next fiscal year starts, and then they have to ping the office again. I don't know what that office is called, I forget, but basically they have to ping it again and say, hey, is there now a visa number available? And if they get a confirmation, then they can click approve, and then you get your green card in the mail.
Makes sense. So EB2 still they can expect some interview, right? But they cannot get the green card, but they can expect the interview if someone is waiting.
Yeah, so whatever the other steps are, USCIS can complete those steps. They can complete the biometrics, they can complete the interview, they can run their background checks, everything they need to do for processing the case they can do, but it's just the final step of approving and printing the green card they cannot do if there's no more visa numbers available.
Oh, at least that is a good news. If someone applied the I-485 on EB2, EAD and advance parole, what will happen? So whether they will get the EAD or advance parole?
There is no restriction on USCIS issuing an EAD or advance parole. Even if visa numbers are not available, USCIS can still issue the EAD and the advance parole. So if you have a 485 pending, you've filed it, then they should not add any more time to your processing time for the EAD or for the advance parole. It's only the 485 that the USCIS cannot approve if there's no visa numbers available.
At least the EB3 I can see a little bit more, right? So is it expected?
I would say yes, because biggest increases in filings over the last 2 years have been in the EB1 and EB2, because that's what everybody's focused on. So maybe the EB3 has been kind of slowing down and getting less attention. So there's less demand for the EB3, it seems.
Since EB3 numbers are available, if someone is in EB2 and the dates available on EB3, is it wise to do downgrade now?
If they have a priority date that would be current, then that's definitely a good option, because it may speed up how fast you get to the green card. However, keep in mind that some people might need a new perm, new labor certification in order to even do the EB3, which means that just to do that part, it would take a long time, and we don't know exactly where the visa bulletin will be in 1 or 2 years when they finally have the labor certification. But if you currently have 2 cases, one is for EB2 and one is for EB3, then the switch is very simple, because if you have I-140s already approved, for example, then all you need to do is send a letter to USCIS. There's not even a form needs to be filed. It's very simple. You just send a letter to the USCIS office where the I-485 is, and you say, please switch the I-485 from the EB2 to the EB3. And sometimes I've received an approval in just 1 month after sending this letter to USCIS. So it could be a fast way to get the green card before this fiscal year is even over, if you have all of the cases and the pieces that you need for this switch.
Yeah, it makes sense. So whoever is having the I-140 on both EB2 and EB3, they can downgrade it. And EB4 is a lot of people are asking this one. So because it was unavailable in the last fiscal year, but now there is a slight movement, but people were worried like whether it may unavailable again. So what's your thoughts on that?
To be honest, I don't work much on the EB4s. One thing that I do remember about the EB4 is that there used to be separate categories for some of those visas, and the religious workers got kind of pulled in with everybody else, and that's what caused this retrogression for the EB4. That if you're in the religious worker EB4 category, then now there's a very very long wait list. But honestly, I don't know what to project on what's going to happen next with it. I think if they keep everything pulled together like that, then there's going to remain a long wait list for quite some time.
So another big surprise element in this visa bulletin is EB5 unreserved for India. I never thought it will go to the unavailable, but it went. So what's your thought on that, Henry?
I think it's, in some sense, it's good news, because what it really shows us is that there are so many successful Indians in the United States that a lot of them are filing EB5s, right? That's what it basically shows, because the only way you can have all the visa numbers used up for EB5 is if you have a lot of rich people who are filing EB5 cases. So it looks like there's a lot of Indians who've become very successful in the United States, and they have chosen to pursue the EB5 category to get to the green card. But of course, those with pending cases already, that's unfortunate. That means for the next, 3 months, they're not going to get an approval if they have a pending case. So they're going to have to wait for next year.
Got it. At the same time, the EB5 only unreserved moved to unavailable, right? The remaining, like the other areas, it's current for India, right? That's also good news, isn't it?
Again, I don't do many EB5s, or I haven't actually filed an EB5 myself. So if I understand it correctly, the reserved is the one for the regional centers, and unreserved is the one where you can pick which business you invest into, right? So more Indians seem to be using the unreserved for, they pick the business where they invest. Maybe they invest money in their own startup and they count that as the EB5 investment, for example. That's called EB5 direct investment. If you just put money into your own company and you apply on that. The reserved one is where there's money pooled from many different EB5 applicants into one fund. That's the regional center, and then they finance some larger things like a big hotel being built or something like that. That one seems to have more openings still, which means that if you are mainly looking at EB5 just so you can get the green card faster, then you still have an option to do that instead of putting money into your own business.
So when the dates become available for either it's for EB2 or EB5?
October 1st, when they restart the count for the fiscal year. So all that it means when they say it's unavailable is that whatever they had for fiscal year 2026, they have already sent out, basically. They've already printed the cards for all of these people, and now they just can't print anymore. On October 1st, 2026, we will start the fiscal year 2027, because that's how the government calendar works. And then they have a new batch of 140,000 EB cases plus whatever is left over from previous year's family cases. So all of that is going to come in on October 1st, and then they can start printing the green cards again.
Okay, that's a good news. Let's wait for the new fiscal year. Let's hope the new fiscal year will bring a lot of new good news to the Indians on the EB based green card. And thank you so much, Henry, for your time, and you explained very well, and you explained more details about the green card, and we got more knowledge from you, and thank you so much, Henry, for that.
Thanks for having me. Always good to see you.
Nandri.
Nandri.